Hello all and welcome to Crochet Designs. My name is Mary and in today's tutorial we are working on our very first Halloween project of 2021 and that is our capelet. Now we've been talking about this for a while. That should have been uploaded yesterday, but I did a massive boo-boo on it, but it's all fixed. Boo-boo, it's a mistake, yeah. But it's all fixed and you won't make that mistake, so yay. Okay, now with your capelet, let me show you quickly what I've got so far so you understand what you're looking for. Now, again, it's not complete. Today will only be part 1, so just bear with me for part 2. Part 2 will arrive on Monday, so it's not that far away. It's only 2 days away because the rest is quite easy, yeah? Let me just lift the hair for now. You won't need to lift the hair because it'll have it's a hooded capelet. It'll have a hood, yeah? So, where are we? Oh, that's too far. Hello. All right, here we go. And you have one job, Mary, just to put it on. It's not that hard. Okay, so mine goes like that. Now, this looks like it's wrong, but it's not. That's the start of the cape. Let's try hood. That's the start of the hood. Come on, Mary, get it right. I'm not going to edit this part, guys, because I just want to get into it. That's the start of the hood, so you can see it kind of sitting upwards, both sides. Oh, there's the other side. It's kind of all tucked in at the moment, so just ignore this part, right? What your job today is to actually do this part of your cape, all right? So you're doing the capelet bit, and mine lands. And I did kind of try and show you on the tutorial, but it was pretty poor videoing. It lands just above the elbow. There's the elbow right there. So you're looking at, I don't know, a couple of inches above the elbow. So if you wanted to, and I give you the option where you can make yours longer if you like. Okay, now the way the capelet works is the measurement you need is just around your shoulders. And I'll explain that to you in a minute. The yarn I'm using today is not the yarn that we are using on the tutorial. Your yarn will be Brighton cotton. It's a 50% cotton and 50% acrylic. Okay, so don't worry, that's not the yarn I wanted to use anyway. I wanted to use a black cotton, which was too dark for, recording purposes. So I used that red one and I used a sample version, okay? Now your job is to just do as many stitches as you make it out to be, and I'll explain that to you in a second. But this is pretty much, oh, it wasn't even straight. This is pretty much where it is. You will have a 4-row single crochet border row here. So that will close up a little bit and you'll have a room for your button, and that's kind of planned, yeah? So that is where you'll be. No, it's not where you'll be. You'll have the bottom part of your capelet done and you'll have the hoodie bit to a certain level. It's not the right height. There's still more height to go, but I want you to get to that height, and then we'll talk about adjusting the top bit, okay, to suit whether we want it peak, whether we want it rounded. We'll talk about that on Monday. But for today, your job is to put this down here. Your job is to create your chains, make the capelet part, and then start your hooded section. And when you get to row 22 of your hooded section, I'll explain that later, stop. Don't cut your yarn. Just stop there, meet us back here on Monday and we will complete it, okay? But let's talk about measurements. This is the chains. These are the chains that I've made, right? Let's talk about measurements. Everybody's body is different, okay? I could say to you extra large, small, medium. No, it doesn't work. Grab your measuring tape. And don't stress, if it doesn't work, you can use the chains, and I'll show you that in a minute too. Grab your measuring tape, wrap it around you like so, and you're not measuring without your arms. You're leaving your arms right there. You're grabbing it, you're bringing your measuring tape forward. Stand up nice and straight. It's got to go pretty much, not too low. Whoops, just lost it. Hello, you had one job. Excuse me a moment. Just talk amongst yourselves. All right, here we go. Grab your measuring tape, okay, and wrapping it around you. Don't do it real tight, or once you start making your top, it's going to open up, yeah? And you should have plenty of space right there. That's your measurement, okay? Now, again, if you accidentally mess up this measurement, when you're doing your single crochet rows, just add some more. So it can be a little bit adjustable, so don't stress too much if you accidentally measure it wrong. Once you get your measurement, you chain your chains, and I'll explain that in the next part of the tutorial. You chain up all your chains, you find your measurement like that, and you gently, don't pull your chains, again that's going to tighten up, just gently run it along your measuring tape, find out where your chain ends, that is your measurement. If that doesn't work, chain your chains, I just stood on it so some of my chains came undone, wrap that around your shoulders. Now mine just came undone just now, but it was about there. Wrap that around your shoulders, keeping your body up nice and tall so you're pushing your chest out kind of thing. So you're giving it more space, because if you're doing it like this, you're measuring that way. Once you straighten up, that's going to come out. All right, so gently pop it around your shoulders like that, as long as it meets in front. Now mine just came undone now. I usually do put a stitch marker in that chain, but anyway. And that's another way of doing it. I'll be doing mine in a quarter scale. Well, we'll just call it quarter scale, but it's like 2.5 million quarter scale to the original piece. So what you are doing is you are doing it to make your measurements. Now that's another thing we wanted to talk about quickly again, just the measurements. In the next section, we will talk about how you do your chains. The pattern itself is a multiple of 3 chains. Right at the very end, you add on another 2 chains, but we'll talk about that in the next section so you won't be confused. And that's, well, pretty much it, guys. Your job today will be to make the capelet section. And what I've done is right at the very end, I decided to show you the hooded part, okay? So you can create the whole thing before joining us on Monday, and then we join our hooded piece together. Don't do any joining before then, because we need to add a few more rows when we get back on Monday. All right, so that's pretty much it. I'm not going to let you sit here and listen to me talk anymore. I just want you to head over to the workstation and create your hooded capelet for our 2021 Halloween fun video that we're going to do. Thanks for joining us, and good luck all. Alrighty guys, I just thought I'd show you quickly first. Let's say you did all your chains to measure your width. All right, that's right around your whole front. Let's pretend it is, right? And yours ended up to be, I don't know, let's pop down 112. Fred's ended up to be 154. These are chains. Oh, is that too far away? I'm sorry guys. Fred's was 154 chains. Joanne's was 89 chains. These are just rough measurements. Whoops, sorry, that's in frame there. These are just rough measurements here. So what you need to do now is you need to get your calculator and you need to divide your chains by 3. Make sure they divide. So 112 divided by 3 equals, oh, that doesn't work. Let's go up a stitch. 113 divided by 3 equals, that doesn't work either. Let's go up 2 stitches. 114 divided by 3 equals, and yes, that works. So just add another 2. Okay, let's try Fred's, I can't remember who I said before, I'm just making names up here. He did 154, we'll divide that by 3 equals, oh, that doesn't work. Let's go up 1. 155 divided by 3 equals, that doesn't work either. Let's go up by 2. What are we on? 156 divided by 3 equals, that's perfect. So John, Fred, Jack, whatever your name is. So that's now 114. And that's now, what did we say? 156. Hello. Come on, Mary, get it right. Okay, let's do Jane's. I don't know, I'm losing all their names now. Just making these names up as I go along. Divided by 3 equals, it doesn't work. Let's go up by 190. Oh, that's not right. Let's try it again. 90 divided by 3 equals, perfect. So Jan, Fred, Jack, whoever, should actually chain 90 stitches. Now, it's better to go up the stitch or 2 stitches than to go down. If you take off a few stitches, you are at risk of making your top too tight. So go up 1 or 2. It's not going to hurt for it to be a tiny little bit loose rather than too tight and it doesn't fit. Yeah. So so far that's it. Once you've chained your 114, 156, 90, whatever your chains were, then you add another 2. So Fiona will have 116 stitches, right? John will have 158 and Mary will have 92. I don't even know whose names these are, but anyway. So there you go. What you need to do is, all you need to remember is multiply your chains by 3, and then at the end you need to add an extra 2 chains. That's pretty much all you need to remember. Okay, so that's it, guys. I just wanted to work out some measurements for you. No matter what your measurements are, divide it by 3. If it doesn't divide, go up 1 stitch. Doesn't divide, go up another stitch until you get a multiple of 3. Once you get your multiple of 3, add another 2, and let's start. All right, so let's work on, I don't know what I've done here. I've made a big mess here. Let's work on some chains. Right, Jane, let's see, her chains are, we'll chain up 9, okay? Because that's a multiple of 3. We're just going to, no, we'll chain up 12. How's that? So we go 1, 2, this is not the right hook. Oh, look, I've got 2 5s here. I needed a 4 and a 5. Hello, there's the 4. You had one job, Mary. Using your 4mm hook for 8-ply cotton. Use whatever hook size your cotton calls for. This is an 8-ply or a number 3 or a DK weight. So you're going to grab your tail end, wrap it around your finger once and twice, hold it there and there. Pass your back loop over. I'm just rushing this part because you would have already chained your chains. So let's chain up 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, so I've got my chains that equal a multiple of 3. Now I want to add another 2. 1 and 2. Yarn over my hook. I want to skip, let's get a nice close up here for you so you can see. I want to skip 1, 2, and in my 3rd stitch I'm going to put a double crochet. So pop your hook in that stitch, pull a loop through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2, and double crochet in your very next chain. And this is just 1 loop. You can put it only in the 1 loop in this particular tutorial because we're going to fill up the back loops later, not now. So we've got this loop that we're working on now. So just keep going and put your double crochets all the way across your row. So by the time you get to the end of your row, you would have worked out your stitches that you came to, and the double crochets work out to be 1 extra double crochet than you really need. So we're popping our last double crochet right in that stitch there. And there you go. All right, now before we continue, we're going to lift up our thread, take out the 4mm hook and replace it with our 5mm hook. All right, you only ever need your 4mm hook for that very first row of double crochets. All right, we're going to start our V-stitch rows now, okay? Now, there is a 3-row repeat for your V-stitch row. When I say 3-row, it's only the start and the end of the rows that's the repeat. In the middle, your V-stitches will stay the same all the way through. So you will have like a gazillion V-stitches, which is so easy to make, and then you'll just have to remember what to do at the beginning and the end of each row. So let's start off with our 3-row repeat. With your very first row is chaining 1, 2, 3, grabbing your stitch marker and popping it in the top stitch of your chain 3. Yes, then you're turning your work like so. And we're already going to start our increased row by chaining one more, and then we're going to put a double crochet directly in that same stitch. Ordinarily we would go over and do a V-stitch in our next third stitch, but for now we're going to pop a double crochet in that first stitch. That is already a V-stitch right there. Okay, so now yarn over your hook, skip 1, 2, and you're jumping into that very third stitch with a double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet all in the same stitch. That is your V-stitch right there. And that's it for the round, for the row, all the way across. Skip 1, 2, V-stitch in your third stitch. So double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, all in the same stitch. Once again, skip 1, 2, V-stitch into your next one, chain 1, double crochet, all the way across your row. All right, so you should have that look all the way across your row. Now, yours truly did not put a stitch marker here, but we're going to do that now so that when you get to the end of the row, you know where to put your hook. Okay, so this is your double crochet, your last double crochet chain right there, right next to it. Oh, there's a very tight stitch there. I'm just going to do like that. Oh, that is tight, isn't it? Pop your stitch marker in that very last chain. There's that double crochet, and then the next chain is your last chain. All right, so go ahead and do this row using the V-stitch pattern all the way across, skipping your 2, doing your V-stitch in your third stitch. All right, do that all the way across your row, and I will meet you back here in a moment. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of the row. We've got 1, 2, and then our chains left. You're going to put a double crochet, oh, that's tight, I'm really tight. Let me take that undone. Put a double crochet in the stitch of your stitch marker. So it really is tight. Oh. Right there. So pop a double crochet in that stitch, 1. Then you're going to chain 1 and a double crochet in the same stitch. And what you should have is that look all the way across your row. Now yours will be obviously a lot bigger. You'll have like heaps of them, depending on the amount that you started off with. But you can already start to see how it's turning out a bit already, even now in our very first V-stitch pattern row. Now we're going to do our second row repeat, and again it's only different at the beginning and the end. The middle is always going to be the same. All right, so now we're going to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, grabbing your stitch marker like so, turning your work whichever way you like to turn it, and then you're just going to pop a V-stitch right in that very first space that you see. Okay, so V-stitch right in there. Chain 1, finishing off your V, all good. Now you're going to V-stitch in every V-stitch all the way across the row, and off you go. Whoops. That's why I said this pattern is so easy. The V-stitches, you can do this in front of the TV. Seriously, after about second row, you can probably do it blindfold. Maybe not, but still, it's so simple. All right, so go ahead and do your V-stitches all the way across your row. And where I want you to get to is your second last V-stitch, perform it, and just wait for me around here. All right, go ahead and do this row, and I'll meet you right here in a moment. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of the row, and I asked you not to do that part there, just to do your last set there, which is okay. Now we're going to do a V-stitch in that space. So pop in and do your normal V-stitch in there. That's 1 double crochet, chain 1 and another double crochet. Then you're going to put 1 double crochet like we did in the beginning, and I'll show that in a minute, in that stitch right there. That's where the stitch marker is. So pop a double crochet, just 1, in there for this row repeat. Okay, take your stitch marker out and let me show you what you did. You did a double crochet and your V-stitch in your first space, and a double crochet and your V-stitch in your last space. That's your second start and end row repeat, if that makes any sense. This is your third row repeat. Ready? Chain 1, 2 and 3. Grab your stitch marker and pop it in there like so. Okay, turn your work, and you're not going to chain this one. Okay, you're just going to put a double crochet in the same stitch that you are in, like that. And then you're just going to jump into every V stitch across. There's your first one, and you're going to do your V stitches. Chain 1, V, yeah, V, chain 1. I keep saying V, chain 1, V, but it's actually double crochet. Chain 1, double crochet. So do your V stitches all the way across, even at that very last space right there, and I'll meet you up here in a moment. All right, go ahead and do that now, and I'll meet you there soon. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of this row right there. All right, we started off with our 2 double crochets there. It was actually chain 3 and a double crochet, yeah, so it classifies it as 2. And then we did our V-stitches all the way across. Now we are going to end off, that's our last V-stitch section. So pop your V-stitch in there. We are going to end off by putting 2 double crochets, no chains, just 2 double crochets in that space there. So yarn over your hook. What's the actual stitch with a stitch marker? 1. No, I'll take it out. I can't finish it otherwise. Okay, and 2. All right, now that is pretty much your 3-row repeat. You've got that row there, that one, and that one. When I say 3-row repeat, 3 beginnings and ends, start to end repeat. But I'm going to start you off quickly for your next round so you know what you're doing. And that's chaining 1, 2 and 3, popping your stitch marker in there like so. Yes, then like we did in our very first row, you're chaining 1, whoops, like that, like that, turn your work, and you are actually going to be popping a double crochet in the space, not in the stitch, but in the space right there. So pop your double crochet in that space right there, like so, and then you're just going to hop into your very next V, going all the way across your row with your V's. All right, I don't think I need to show you this part. This is the easy bit. It's the fun bit. I love doing my V's. Did I mention that before? All right, complete that row. Get to the end of this row right here. I'll meet you there, and then we'll talk about the repeats. All right, so go ahead and complete this row, and I'll meet you there in a moment. Alrighty guys, welcome back. Now, when we first started this row, we chained our 3, put a stitch marker in chain 1 and popped our double crochet in the space of that semi V-stitch. I call it a semi because it doesn't have chains, V-stitch on the previous row. We're going to do exactly the same thing here. Do your last V-stitch there, and then you will have this kind of a semi V-stitch, yeah? So you're going to do a double crochet in the space of your semi V-stitch, semi V-stitch, you like that, chain 1, and then you're going to put your last double crochet in that chain. So really, if you had to think about it, I'll just pop that in there like that. So really, if you have to think about it, the actual 3-row repeat doesn't start from there, it kind of starts from there. So it's 1, 2, 3. These last 3 rows that we did, this is a 3-row repeat, you are going to do that all the way through your capelet until you get to, this is the part where you need to decide how wide yours is going to be. When you get to, this is what it should look like, by the way, on the sides as you're going along with your increases. Both sides should look like that. All right. Now, don't worry about this, what you see here after. I'm going to show you that in a minute. But that's what you should have on both sides. This is the wrong side, but don't worry about it. That's all good. Let me show you the original piece, right? As you know, actually my subscribers would know that I started off doing the capelet, or capelet that is, in the red and realised I didn't have enough red yarn. So I found this kind of it's a jeans plus cotton, half jeans, half cotton yarn that I had in stock. I actually purchased it a long time ago to make myself a top. Well, I changed my mind and I'm making the capelet or capelet instead, all right? So what you need to do is you need to decide for yourself how long you want yours to go. All right, I'm going to show you some measurements now, just quickly with the measuring tape. So let's grab our measuring tape. From the base of my capelet or capelet to the very top double crochet row that I first made, turns out to be roughly 26 centimeters. Let's get a close up. 26 centimeters, or just over 10 inches, almost 10¼ inches. All right, you need to decide for you how long you want yours to be. Now, if you want to talk about where it sits on my body, and I'll show you. Sorry about the arm, but there's my elbow right there. It sits right there. So it's halfway between the elbow and the shoulders. It might actually be a little bit lower. It's like that much up. There's my elbow. It's probably around there. So it's more than halfway down. Now you'll see it as we go along when I try on the hooded part. So you'll see that as we go along. I made exactly 22 V-stitch rows down. So if you want to make it exactly that much, that's fine. But the idea is to go as long as you want. Now, if you wanted to make it way down to your waist, your hips, even your ankles, you can just, if you've got enough yarn that is, you can just keep going, all right? But in the meantime, I did 22 rows. That's all I needed. In fact, I didn't even count the rows. What I counted was just popping it over my shoulders and seeing how far down I wanted my little capelet or capelet to go. Then this is where, once you've done all that, we're going to turn around and talk about the hoodie, okay? So let's just talk about that. Remember when we started our row, this is your right side of your work. I'm going to show you how to start your hoodie today so that you can finish off your cape part of it. And then once that cape is finished, you can finish off the hoodie part and then meet me back here on Monday for the rest. But in the meantime, we're going to start the hoodie. See, there's the right side of our work. Let me show you quickly. The right side of your work looks gorgeous, doesn't it? The wrong side of your work, the first row, kind of looks a little bubbled, okay? We want the right side of our work. We want to work on, when we start our hood part, we want to work on the wrong side of our work, okay? So grabbing your piece like so. Now this is the larger version. We're going to start working on the larger version for a minute, okay? So grabbing your piece like so. Now I've already popped my stitch markers in there and you're going to do that right now as well. But before we start our hoodie, we actually need to do some measurements. So head over and get some measurements done now and then meet me back here in a moment. All right, welcome back again, guys. Let's talk about the measurements of the hoodie section, okay? Now, a lot of people are saying to me, how do you measure a hoodie section? It doesn't make sense to me. No, it doesn't. And like, it's different for everyone, okay? If you have a hooded outfit in your closet, go check it out and try it on you and put it towards your piece. You know, roll it up towards your piece and see what the difference is. But with our hood, the way it works is I'll be making it relatively big so that you can have too much in front rather than too little. I'll show you how to tighten it up to make it sort of more closed up, okay? The way you measure the size of your hoodie, right? And it's different for everyone, but this is our piece here. Right now, the piece lands, oh, you had one job, woman, here we go. The piece lands there like that. Now mine has a tiny little gap because I've made that space on purpose for my single crochet rows, but you didn't have to do that. I just wanted it tight for me once it's done, yeah? I wanted mine really tight, but I don't know how that's going to go down well. If it doesn't look good, I'll add a few more single crochet rows. Anyway, the way the hood works is, oh, my hood's already come out. The measurements of your hood should be, so you can see it, it should be over your shoulders, right? And it should be kind of in front. There's the middle of your chest area. Yes, the middle of your chest. If you wanted it really loose and baggy, bring your hood further in. Start your hood like, you know, maybe only 2 clusters away from, 2 V-stitches away from your front area. And that gives you a really closed up hood so you can only kind of see your face. If you wanted it fairly tight, then further back would be okay, but it kind of opens up and you see half your head. And I didn't want that look, all right? So what I did was I calculated for me, and I'm a large girl, yeah? I calculated for me to be 7 or 8 V-stitches across, and I can't remember now, 7 or 8 V-stitches across that way, and 7 or 8 V-stitches that way, and that's where I started. As long as when you pop it on your front, you can see it, yeah? Because when that closes over, it's going to be closed there, right there. If you're further back, it'll close over like that. So make sure you can see your hood in front of you, and my hood lands right there. I'm hoping this is making sense. You can do it further in if you like, and it'll kind of give you more of an overlap, which will make it, you know, just as nice. Or you can just leave it where I've done it, which is pretty much 8 clusters over. But there you go. And you just need to try it on and make sure it sits in front of you and not over there. If your hood starts from there, it's not going to fit. It's going to go like that, and you're going to have half your head out, right? So start your hood in front of you so you can see it. Okay, hope that makes sense. That's it, guys. Let's head over to the workstation and do the rest now. Alrighty, guys. Now, I'm not sure what measurement you came up with for your hoodie, but with mine, I came across 8 V-stitches, all right? So remembering our work, this is the right side of our work. You see how nice and neat that is, and see how kind of bubbled that is. We're on the right side, yes? So what we want to do is turn it to the wrong side, and we're going to start on the wrong side from as far in as you want to go. With my hoodie, I started roughly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 V-stitches. Let me get out of that one. That's far too close. 8 V-stitches over. Now your V-stitch will land, let me get a close-up for you so you can see. Your V-stitch will actually land, oh, I'm in the wrong stitch anyway, I think. Let me show you. I just moved over by one, didn't I? All right, when you do your V-stitch, it will land there, right above this one, but more on an angle to your right. It's normal because crochet works this way. Now, if you were left-handed, it will go that way, so yours will angle more on the left, but we're right-handed, so we won't worry about that. All right, so don't stress too much. If it looks like it's not even once you do the next few rows, it'll all line up. So if we're going to do our V-stitch right here, our very first V-stitch, then we need to do, and we're using our 5mm hook again, we need to do 1 stitch before, right there, we need to do our chains in there. So grabbing your, oh, made a mess all over the place, grabbing your thread, and you can take that stitch marker out now. Hopefully this is the size that you wanted. Okay, now if it's not, you can move your size over wherever you want, all right? So grab your thread, pull a loop through, chaining 1, 2, and 3. Now this is nothing like the front, okay? This will still be V-stitch, but your first stitch will be the same in every row. In fact, this particular row is a 1-row repeat, so you don't have to remember anything. All you have to remember is chaining up 3 at the beginning, and right at the very end, which is, I'll show you that in a minute, you are putting a double crochet in. So don't worry about that yet. So you are double crochet there. Right in your very next stitch there, you're putting a double crochet, the very, very next chain. Like I said, we were going to work in these bottom chains, didn't I? You're doing a double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet. Notice how I crocheted over the tail. It doesn't matter, we're going to weave that in later as well, right? But you're doing that V-stitch right there. So what you've got is your double crochet and then your V-stitch. So your V-stitch is kind of a little on an angle. Doesn't look particularly straight, but it actually is. All right, it'll sort itself out later, don't stress. Now, you will skip 1, 2, jump into your third, with your next V-stitch. Oh, you don't have to crochet over that tail anymore, sorry about that. Your next V-stitch, all right? Then 1, 2, jump into your third with your next V-stitch. I'm thinking you're getting the picture for this row. Now let me show you what it looks like so you know. And that's what it's looking like. All right, so you got your V, you got your V, you got your V, and you've got your chain 3. Now what I want you to do is run your work all the way along here. Do your V-stitches all the way across. What you should come to is your very last V-stitch will be around here somewhere. And then you just have to put a double crochet in your next stitch. All right, so head off on your own, doing your V-stitches all the way across your row. I've taken the stitch marker out, haven't I? I'm a silly duffer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just above the 8 one there, right? Just a rough, it's not even in any stitch. Just above that 8 one, get to the last V-stitch before it and we will do some measuring, okay? So you don't get a bit lost. So go ahead and do your V-stitches all the way across, okay? And then meet me back here in a moment. Here we are at the end of our row, like so. Let's get a nice close-up for you. Now, okay, just quickly to let you know, I checked mine off air, but I wanted to show you anyways. Check this out. That's where I end up. And it's short. And I'll tell you why. Because here, when I came across, I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I said 8. But I started in the 8th. Whereas here, when you get to here, I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we literally have to move right over. So let's do this particular piece right here. So we're going to V-stitch in, see we're V-stitched here. We're going to V-stitch right in that very next one, which is 1, 2, and 3. Right? Finish off your V-stitch. And just, you know what? Take out your stitch marker for a minute. And just put a double crochet in there. And then we'll measure it up. Okay? This is how you measure it up. You don't necessarily have to measure from your chains, but more so from your V-stitch cluster. And now it marries up. So it looked like it wasn't going to marry up before, but now that we've put our V-stitch in and our double crochet, it marries up. Now that you don't have to worry about that anymore because it's done. But what you do need to do now, and this is your 1 row repeat, yeah? All you're doing is chaining 1, 2, and 3. Pop your stitch marker in there. Turn your work like normal. And V-stitch. Oh, let me get a close up. That's better. And V-stitch, you've got your chains in that double crochet. So you're V-stitching straight into the next V-stitch. Can I use the word V-stitching? I think I can. Chain 1, finish off your V-stitch. Okay, jump into your next V-stitch. This is so super easy. And I've got a knot here, but don't worry about that knot. This is not an original work, so this is going to come undone, all this. Just ignore it. V-stitch into your next piece. Into your next V-stitch. Wake up, Mary. And so on all the way across your row. I'm rushing because I'm not going to let you sit here and watch me do this. What I would like for you to do now is to V-stitch all the way across your row until you get to... I'm rushing. Until you get to your very last V-stitch or 2 V-stitches right here. There's one right there, whichever. And I will meet you there in a moment. Alrighty guys, how did you go? You would have gone all the way across here and we would be directly here. Okay, now where you should have your last V-stitch is right there, and then you should have a double crochet right there. Okay, so we're going to pop our last V-stitch in that V-stitch space like so, and don't forget that V-stitch space or you'll be 1 V-stitch short. And in your stitch marker, all you're going to do is pop a double crochet. That is it, guys. That is your repeat row for your hoodie section. Okay, you're just doing that row over and over and over again for 22 rows. Now I say 22 rows, that's the average head circumference size, roughly. Now we are going to be doing more rows, but not in this tutorial, okay? I want you to finish off your capelet or capelet section. Once you finish it, which is like this one here, I finished my capelet section. Once you've finished it, you turn it over and you do that, if you haven't already done that, okay? Which you can see my V-stitches there, all right? You can see them all the way across, yeah? Now all I have to do is turn and do my second row. And the second row, as you saw right here, is the repeat row, okay? So there's no increasing on the hoodie. You are just going up and down, up and down, up and down for 22 rows. When you get to your 22 rows, don't cast off your thread because we're going to do more rows, okay? But I just want you to get to your 22 rows because once we get to our 22nd row, we're going to decide whether we want a pointed hoodie or whether we kind of want a rounded hoodie up the top. Now let's talk about that in part 2 because you've got a lot of work to do here and that's going to take you the weekend anyway. So there you go. All right, so what I want you to do is continue your increased rows for the capelet part, then continue your normal rows with no increasing, just a double crochet and a chain 3. For your hooded part, get 22 rows there, roughly 22 rows this way, roughly, give or take, depending on your size and how long down you want to go. And meet me back here on Monday for part 2 of our capelet hoodie. Okay, we are going to be closing up the hoodie part. Then we're going to be putting a border row here. So we're going to have maybe 3 or 4, haven't decided yet, single crochet rows there on that side and 3 or 4 on that side so that we can pop a button right there. And then we're going to be popping, I think, I haven't decided yet, really haven't decided on that part, whether we pop a border row around the whole piece of our hooded section as well. Let me think about that over the weekend, the hooded section. But for this part here, definitely we are going to have maybe 3 or probably 4 rows of single crochet. So if yours was really tight like that, don't stress too much. Our 4 rows of single crochet is going to close it up and you'll be able to put a button on it and it'll close up, at least close up in front. Okay, we're not going to be closing up the sides because it kind of goes out a little bit, okay? But that is what we're going to do on Monday. Putting the hood, finishing off the hood, which is closing up the hood, popping your little border rows right here, adding a beautiful, gorgeous, fantastic button, and then we'll decide whether we want to close up everything and make the hoodie tighter. Let's not worry about that for now. Let's worry about finishing 22 rows of this down this way, 22 rows of your hoodie that way. Meet me back here on Monday to finalise our capelet. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share. And also don't forget we have our lives at 4 p.m. Wednesday afternoons and 10 a.m. Saturday mornings, Melbourne, Australia time that is. And we're doing a lot of fun activities on the live. You must be in it to win it. There is the fun wow wheel, which is plenty of giveaways and things on that wheel. So there you go. Apart from that, you guys also have the opportunity to decide what colour combination we use on some of our projects. Not all of them, because I can be a little fussy. And also, we are doing a swatch blanket of 2021 with myself and the subscribers, and it's their choice on what colour combination we use for the swatches. So I'm loving that part of it. It's a lot of fun. You've got to be in it to win it for the wow wheel. That's on our live as well. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all on Monday to finish our, let's do the real one here. Finish it. I'll see you all, oh, wake up Mary. I'll see you all on my odds upside down to finish off our capelet. Thank you so much for watching and ciao for now.